Hello. Oh, good morning. Hello, Mark. Good to see you in the room this morning. I see Brad celebrating his 75th. Well, Kelly's husband, Brad, celebrating his 75th. Hello, Miss Jenny Mayhays. Hello, Grumpy, Sluggo, Adam, Ronnie. Oh, I don't have another screen up. See if I can get that fixed. Hello, Just Sharing. Hello, Kevin, Dagoo, Valerie, Red Canary, Tahoe, Jay, Amy. Now it's just ripping. Now it's like try to catch all those. Enjoying some of the chatter this morning. Some of you guys' plans for the weekend. Hello, Mr. Coons. Hello, Ronell. LG Lady. Whoa, that one just went past. Carrie said, please send a prayer for me. I thought I was having a stroke yesterday. Turned out that it was a complex headache that took my vision away. I've only had one of those once or twice, and that was tough. I do not know how people that suffer regularly, that's got to be difficult. Danny, any idea why the bond people haven't got paid yet? Because they're not ready. I know that's doesn't seem like much of a good answer, but that's the short of it. They certainly have a lot of folks positioned, a lot of folks reporting that they're positioned, a lot of folks telling us what they're seeing. We've also seen it in like the real world. I mean, if you go and you can look, there's financial articles about nations and historic bonds. Pretty much every nation in the world holds historic bonds in their treasuries. It is a well-known, easily documented, easily researched fact. Now, I do think we're going to find entirely too many counterfeit ones on the dragons and etc. So make certain you do your due diligence. Is my thoughts. What's up with the Jermaine? I have not. I have zero zilch, zero anybody that thinks that it has been opened in any level of no yet. I hope they're right and it's opened, but I don't believe it's accurate. Let's see. Question. Please share the ATB silent auction link trying to get to $5,000. Oh, I misunderstood. I was like, we keep sharing it, keep sharing it. No, we've yeah, it's already been shared a couple times and it'll get shared a lot more this morning. Something you never have to worry about on that front. We are huge supporters. And that link is in the chat on all the platforms that it can go into. It's in my morning links to share every morning until you guys have it. And there are still, guys, there's still some amazing products and things available over on the silent auction. Dragonheart, how would you like to be one of the bondholders that have invested quite a lot of money? Not one or two notes, not maybe a couple hundred, a couple thousand. They have like millions of dollars in these things. Probably more difficult for them than it is for us. Yeah, Zark. No, I agree with you, Zark. Someone or something's playing us like a violin. The disinformation is deep. Yes, it is, and purposeful. It's affecting our mental health, and no walking away isn't the answer. Getting it done is. Yeah, unfortunately, you have to find a peace spot because you know that they have to confuse the timing. Or every bad guy in the world, every nefarious player, every questionable, or even others will derail things by putting billions of dollars at the last minute there. I understand that they have to do it. It just sucks. I get it. The only way to deal with it is to know that it's an inevitable. It is a when, not an if, and just tuck in, no matter how long the ride takes. Hello, Confederate pirate. That's really it's the only answer. Nobody wants to hear it. It's the answer. Jay Branch, at this point, I think we're all going at once. I think we are too. I know the original plan, but to me, it makes more sense to do everything at once, or at least such a compressed time period that it feels like all at once. Because once one part can be verified as really, really 100% going, Say we get like 10 of whatever bond people, anything or currency groups, you know that it's going to be bedlam if it doesn't all go at once. Yeah, Roy, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. See what a mountain goat have to say. This is per my CBI contact. I assure everyone that there are absolutely no new or low denominations being distributed. Uh, that works. I didn't think they were. I think they were distributing cut sheets. Just talked to my CBI contact yesterday. CBI has not even released the notes yet. The instructions, citizens, how to exchange them, along with a picture of them. Also, yeah, they haven't released it to the public yet. Just cut sheets. I'll buy that. Let's see. Goldilocks said bonds are fake. A lot of treasuries out there hold bonds. Everybody's going to have to make a lot of these decisions for themselves. Do your research. What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? But it'll come as quite a surprise to find out all the bonds are fake if to the countries that hold them and the treasuries that hold them. See, Mr. C, yeah, that's right. Mr. C is not on today. His brother is having surgery. Nothing bigger or cooler than that. Nothing bigger or cooler than that. Well, not that that's cool. Prayers headed to Mr. C and family as they go through today. Thanks, Gary. We do have Bob Locke today, which I think is going to be great. Mary Ann celebrating her 92nd. Let's see. Doesn't think Zim's. I've told you guys my thoughts on that one. Based on fundamentals, I would have not invested in Zim on the Zim bonds unless I didn't have. Unless I mean, how do I say that? I have a couple of just what I consider world class contacts that said, "Hey, it is absolutely worth it. We are aggregating 4 nations, and you should do it." So I did it. Didn't spend much. But the risk versus the reward is how I came up with whether I would or wouldn't. Christ, Jesus, Lord, how do we know for sure this are you? We don't. You got to make peace with it. Do we believe it is? Sure. Painful, painful truth. We do not know the timing. And that they did say exactly where they heard that. Said exactly where they heard it and who they heard it from. It's my understanding, if everything I've been told is accurate, the bonds go before the aggro. Debbie, just keep looking. It's already been posted like 4 or 5 times this morning. It will keep going through chat throughout the morning for the silent auction. But Mark, the government shut down. How are they able to vote on things? They're still going to work. Government's shut down, but for some reason we're still paying congressmen and senators. Oh, because they passed the laws. Happy birthday to Corvette Kid's wife, the big 60. Oh, that's the truth. It is way easier to be a skeptic than a believer. I know, we got to get into it. Music. Frank stated our asked permission to go 1-to-1 with the US and UK. I'd be okay with that. I know everybody else wants more, and it'd be nice to have more, but I'd be okay with that just to get this thing done. I went based on what I think makes the most sense in my currency holdings. Dinar first, Dong second, Indonesian rupiah, then Zim. That's the order I went for mine because that's the one that made the most sense to me. And the one that makes the absolute most sense to me is precious metals. Witty Cat 63. Yeah, Bernard, I'll be okay with 50 cents. I think most of us would. Marlene, early 2000s. Early 2000s. I have been riding this roller coaster. Not as long as Mr. C. Bolivar, I've got Bolivar too. I just don't have any idea what to expect on values. So I just leave it out there. It's cheap, easy to get. To me, you'd have to be about crazy not to roll the dice on that. Joy said, when the RV goes, I plan. Oh, I need to get to what news we have. When the RV goes, I plan on buying a house in Puerto Rico. Where would you recommend? Totally depends on what you're into. Whether you like cities, whether you like rural towns, whether you like the beach, the mountains. A lot of that's going to depend on what you like. Do you speak any Spanish? If you don't, you got to stick to, or you should, unless you want to learn, stick to the gringo rich areas like Rincon, Dorado, San Juan. I avoid those places. Well, I don't know. I like Rincon on occasion. Whoa, it is running. Gary, yet again, Mr. C is not coming on today. He's announced it since last week. His brother has surgery today, and he is occupied. That wouldn't make any sense, Peden. That wouldn't make any sense at all. That is devoid of any logic. I doubt really said that, at least not meaning it. All right, let's get into some news. We got a fair amount coming straight out of Iraq that we can tackle. The Central Bank of Iraq receives International Business Continuity Certificate. More of the ISO, more to the international standards. We are looking at an Iraq that is going to have no restrictions. They're making the changes they need. They talked about it in their white paper and their reforms. Love seeing things like this. It is just checking off the list, checking off the pre-flight list. The checklist. Kurdistan's region oil exports stabilized to the Turkish port of Ceyhan and expectations of increased production. They want us to know how well it's going. What they mean by these articles, think of like you have a major repair done on your car. Maybe you had an engine swap, blew an engine or a transmission, and they change a lot of stuff. Got to test drive it. Then you go back in after a while, make certain there aren't any leaks or loose bolts that they didn't catch. It's what's going on at the port of Ceyhan, and the pipeline from the Kurdish region, pumping about 190,000 barrels a day. They're testing things. Now they're going to do a maintenance run on it. If everything is working the way it's supposed to, and they believe it is, and they're going to up the production. So it'll be more revenue going into Iraq. Major increases. They'll start from 190 to 225, and then they were trying to build to 400,000 barrels. I don't even know if they talked about it in this article. There are about 4 others where they talked about it. Trump's envoy reveals his vision for Iraq. I know. Day 3 in a row talking about this cat. What's interesting is the free of malign foreign interference and sovereign. I love this one up here, though. U.S. President Donald Trump's new envoy to Iraq, MarkZ, has revealed his vision by saying that the interests of the Iraqi people in the wider region are linked to a fully sovereign Iraq. They are making every effort for Iraq to be fully sovereign. That means sovereign from the U.S., sovereign from Iran, but focus here is from Iran, and talking about the military forces there, or we can call them militias, and how all armed militias have to answer directly to the Iraqi government, and has to be that way for them to truly be sovereign. They can't be avoiding, they can't have the big bully there telling them what to do. Includes the U.S. So I really, really like this appointment. It has the Iraqi people very, very upbeat and excited. fantastic one directly from his personal X account official statement, what has been done, the weapons, the pivotal nature, what's going on, the tremendous progress, the future for Iraq, etc. Real, really neat watching what's going on because it hits our checklist. The Minister of Transport announces the signing of contracts with 4 international technical and economic companies on the development path. I could have just given this one a sound block, but hey, you guys will have more articles to go through if you want to do your own research, which I suggest. Just talking about that development. And again, remember, the development road has the potential to out earn the oil revenue in the country. They're already doing amazing things on that revenue. Now, imagine if they could more than double their revenue, the investments they can make for the Iraqi people. Economists, Iraq's the only oil country among the world's major producers that does not have a sovereign fund. That kind of ties in with all those sovereign funds or investments around the world and in their own country so that the nation makes revenue independent of tax revenue. Trump has pushed for them to have a sovereign fund. He has pushed for the U.S. to have a sovereign fund and is in the process of making that happen. I love this one because it's just common sense and shows you the long-term thought process now in Iraq, which they need in order to support a higher value. Wait, it's Paul's birthday again? Happy birthday, Paul. I got distracted reading about Vale and snow. Sorry, guys. Let's turn off the banner. We should have a Bob Locke joining us soon. Still very painfully quiet on the bond side. I did have another one checked in, so they just said they would be completed by November 5th. Totally different one, not affiliated with anybody else I have been tracking. Cross your fingers, hope. Mellow Yellow, why would you avoid the English-speaking areas? Just curious. The English-speaking areas, because so many folks have come in with money from out of country, have skyrocketed the prices in those areas. And I like the culture. You know, which culture do you like? In other words, if you just want like US culture with better weather, move to South Florida. I like the Spanish culture. More family. And you kind of lose that when you go to the very dominant. Rincon's a great compromise. My opinion. Jabril, I hope that's exactly what they're doing, out enjoying their new money. Let's keep running. Soybeans, rare earth, fentanyl, 9 takeaways from Trump's meeting with Xi. We've talked about this one. This one just gives us a nice synopsis, the cliff notes of what has gone on from greatly reducing fentanyl precursors being shipped out of China, increasing the control there over. Rare earth minerals, removing restrictions for 1 year. Now, keep in mind when you see that, 1 year, Trump has made major moves to secure rare earth minerals from other areas around the world, including inside the United States and throughout Central and South America. So 1 year extension on that one should be enough to remove our need or to greatly reduce it. They said they could extend it any time. Massive change in food purchases from China for American farmers, which is fantastic. U.S. I mean, like major amounts on the farming side. Rare earth port fees. The U.S. was going to start charging port fees on any Chinese built ship because, they're building a lot of ships. We weren't building any. So they're going to remove those fees on each other. Then China retaliated. They were charging fees on any U.S. built ship. Not that there were that many. So it definitely hurt the U.S. more than it hurt China. The fentanyl tariffs they were looking for, and Trump to make a visit. They discussing Taiwan, TikTok, you name it. Great synopsis. I'm trying to hurry along so the moment we get Bob Locke, we're ready to roll. Brian Donalds eyes impeachment of Obama judge after GOP spy orders. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Here's a picture of Brian himself representative from Florida suggests Thursday that he would pursue the impeachment of Judge James Bosberg after declassified documents revealed he signed off on the FBI's surveillance of GOP lawmakers' phone records. Very, very questionable legally. It would have been enough in any other time period for any other president, any other administration. That judge would have already been removed. And judges have been removed for less. This is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Good luck, Brian. More concern, although I think this is a major push to get Venezuela on board. Oil spikes on reports U.S. military attacks on Venezuela are imminent, just hours or days away. Heck, maybe this weekend. New Friday morning reporting says President Trump has made the decision to attack Venezuela, ahead of which has seen an unprecedented U.S. military buildup in the South Caribbean. It has included the redeploying of the USS Gerald Ford carrier group from the Mediterranean to join operations in Venezuela. Things have really ramped up. Airfield here, we can see our drones parked on the tarmac, jets, you name it. Definitely staging for something. And now we don't even need to talk about that one. We do have Bob coming into the studio, so I should be ready for you at any moment. You just wave when you're ready, Bob, and I'll bring you in. All right, he already waved.
Morning, Mark.
Good to see you, sir.
And yourself. Looking well.
Thank you, sir. Here's a question for you. As things really do seem to be ramping up a bit on the Venezuela front. Oh, no, I missed that one. Somebody asked if they thought Russia will defend Venezuela. They have some interest.
I mean, they're allies. The problem is, then you've got Russia, fighting on two fronts. And
yeah, they're kind of busy.
Yeah, and after all the people that they've lost in the whole Ukraine mess, I'd have a hard time seeing that.
I do too. I mean, the total out there, total based on nothing. But what happens if Trump and Putin made a deal and said, all right, go ahead, take Ukraine. It's a mess. CIA so ensconced. Nazism, racism is so bad. Denazification, all those reasons. Why don't you just go ahead and take Ukraine and we'll take Venezuela, and looks at China. All right, fine, have Taiwan, and we all start growing in our own spheres. That's a theory I've got out there.
Well, and it's not as outlandish as we would have thought maybe 6 months ago, because I'm looking at the pace with which these negotiations that Trump's getting into, and all these issues he's resolving, and he's doing it at such a fast pace that to me they're clearing the decks. I mean, really, right now I feel like we're at this stage where we've got really the good versus evil, and it's getting to the end times of this current state of reality, and that what we're seeing is, if you look at Washington, if you look at California, if you look at Europe, and you're getting all of these really wild liberals, and they're trying to take the board. And for the first time, you're seeing the more conservative view pushing back harder than I've seen in a long, long time. And so I'm hopeful. I really am. I think that, are we at the stage where it's 1,000 years of freedom and prosperity, kind of Book of Revelations type stuff? I'm not sure, but we've never seen good versus evil in your face in the MSM as much as we are right now. So interesting times.
Very interesting times. Do you have something you want to talk about today? Anything that has been just tickling on you that you think needs to be discussed before we open anything up to questions?
I didn't touch on this the last time that we spoke, last couple of times that we spoke, but I engaged in a social experiment starting several years ago, after discussions with a lot of the people in this community. And I offered an installment plan for people who wanted to do trusts to get prepared for their appointments, but they didn't have the funds to, do everything up front. And so I said, well, let's try an installment plan. And I honestly thought it was going to be very short-lived, and that there were going to be too many people that just didn't fulfill their plans, and then I'd end up having to pull it back. And I've got to say, after years of experiencing this, one person has not fulfilled their responsibilities in completing those plans. People have, gotten in tough times and said, "Hey, I've got to suspend payments for a while," but they always come back. And that's a testimony to you and this community that you're building, because these people are honorable and just, salt of the earth people. I can't say enough about the people that have come to me through my association with you. And so I just wanted to throw that out there, because it really warms my heart to see, it kind of rebuilds your faith in humanity, if you will.
That's some great people. This community, I know we all have. Every community out there has the the nut bag or the whatever. But no, overall, I'm just blown away at just how awesome folks are here. That is for certain. See, Jemanuel, I'm seeing many more pedos arrested in my country. What country? I thought you were in the U.S. It's almost daily. We're starting to see more and more here as well. Although some of these, I call them Newsom's pedo laws that he is so busy creating. I just.
Well, that's it though. I mean, what we were just talking about, they're marking the boundaries very clearly, and they're coming out and they're shameless about it. I mean, it's either, pedos and drag queen story hour or nothing. And it's sad to say it, but the assassination of Charlie Kirk has really tipped the balance. It's tipped the kind of the boundaries of conversation, where people are talking about things that they had been reticent to talk about for the last several years, because they were, for fear of being canceled or just being harassed and harangued when they started talking about just facts, and finally people are just saying, no, enough. No, that's not true. No, you're not a woman. No, I mean, no, guys and women's sports. And I, the guys and women's sports, it's interesting because when I was raising our kids, with my wife, we lived in a place where the park system had a co-ed, sports, set of sports leagues, so baseball, basketball, soccer. And for my two girls, that was just fantastic. I mean, to be able to play against boys, it made them into world-class athletes. And so I value it. But that was planned, and it's not like what's happening today, which the trans thing is a whole different thing. And I'm happy to see the way that those things are finally being resolved. It's like, no, vaccines aren't safe. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that word.
Yeah,
No,
I think you're.
I know.
Some are. Base it on the science.
Yeah, exactly. I am the science. Right?
You were just talking about that one and that return to sanity, saying what you can, saying what you. I mean, some of the things that people need to be said, but they couldn't say it without prosecution. Still goes on in Europe. This article popping up: a German anti-Greta activist seeks asylum in the U.S. after Antifa death threats. Oh, I mean, this has gone on for a couple of years for this young lady, Representative Luna. There fighting for her to get asylum in the U.S. But that's not unusual. There are many, call them influencers, call them political writers, etc. And most of them come from the center, not even like what they would like to paint as an extreme right. I mean, like just a couple years ago, they would have been considered straight down the middle. But they're trying to flee Europe, the UK, and Germany, and France because of persecution from their government of their free speech, getting locked up for saying things like men should not be in the ladies' restroom, men should not be in girls' sports.
Yeah,
They're going to jail, so they're trying to get asylum here in what they consider one of the last sane free speech areas of the world.
it's scary because to me, the UK is almost toast. I'm holding out some hope that that sanity comes back in, and I know that there's been huge demonstrations about the free speech issue, but I mean they're picking people up off the street for Facebook posts. It's like V for Vendetta. It's 1984. I mean, they're right at the edge, and if the people don't rise up and take care of this issue, because to your point, right now, center right is considered
Extreme right,
radical. Yeah, exactly.
radical.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I say something like I support free speech, I'm a radical.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think I should be able to think for myself, make my own decisions. I'm a radical. I think I should be able to decide on many of the subjects my child learns in school outside of the core, language, math,
math
sciences,
science.
any
Yeah.
of those other. I don't have the right to decide, or I'm a radical.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's this radical gender ideology that they're pushing in there that, I read an article the other day. It was very interesting, and it was about how we've lost control of our influence centers. So education, media, government, and when you do that, then it doesn't take more than a generation or two. I mean, that's what the Nazis always said. Give me the kids for a generation or two, and I'll change the entire world. And it's really true. We've got to get those things back. And the shutdown to me is interesting because it's exposed the fact that the Department of Education is absolutely useless. It does nothing at all. The government shutdown, schools are continuing on. They're working, no problem. They're being funded because they're under a different schedule than other things. It's just the bureaucrats that cater to the unions aren't at their desks. I think we're going to see that with a lot of other government agencies that are really just redundant or useless, or are there, as propaganda arms to indoctrinate, the students or the people, as it were.
Um, she will wants to know if you're still taking new customers and set up any trusts. You're
Yeah,
still making trusts.
yeah. Yeah. Actually, it's been very busy. There's a lot of people that have been sitting on the sidelines that are seeing are seeing the movement even beyond listening to the gurus and looking at the mainstream media and looking at what is happening from a practical perspective. So I've been very busy, and I said I'll take people on up until the point that we go to our appointments, and then after that, I'm not going to be able to because I'll be taking care of new trusts for existing clients and
And yourself.
my own projects. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Greg wants to know, Bob, if somebody were taking donations on a project foundation, would you get a foundation or a trust?
You really have to. That's a personal preference kind of a question. It's a question of how much management is going to be required, and then you've got tax implications as well. I haven't worked as much with foundations. I really like the utility of trusts. I like the fact that they provide you privacy. They provide you insulation from liability and benefits in terms of savings on probate and estate tax costs. So, but yeah, either way you go, it really is whichever one you're more comfortable with in terms of ongoing day-to-day management.
Um, yeah, always get this one. Any thoughts? I know it's just a guess, but any thoughts? I definitely feel like things are coming. I mean, the information continues to be good. I get to check the checklist, all the things these countries and nations in the world is doing to prepare for a change.
You know what? I had a phone call earlier this week, and I hadn't heard from these people for quite some time, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background right now. I mean, a lot of stuff. And you think about what we're talking about. Obviously, you're talking about hundreds of nations and coordinating currency valuations and new finance systems, things like that. Um, I think we're talking about a matter of days to a couple of weeks. I honestly believe that right now, but that's just
I,
gut feeling.
I do too, but it's
Well, yeah,
nobody showed up with the crystal ball or the men in black and told me exactly when something was going to happen or what. Um, Let that a lot of trust. All right, first, before I'm going to go ahead and put this one up, but I'm going to ask one because I've had a lot of people seem confused, with the new QFS or new banking system, new tracking ledger system. Why in the world would we need a trust? And I think they misunderstand what a trust is for. A trust isn't to protect you from the government coming in and grabbing some tax dollars or tax avoidance. It's to avoid frivolous um,
lawsuits. Yeah,
lawsuits,
yeah.
where like the Kennedy cat or where mailman is walking across the yard, trips over your cat, and knows that you got stupid money, so sues you because you're probably just going to pay him a lot of money to get him to go away, or you got a big insurance policy. I don't think people understand it's not to protect you from somebody looking in your bank account like the government. It's much bigger than that.
It's absolutely. I mean, you don't have, well, I always say you don't have to have a trust for your appointment unless you're doing, I've been told consistently for a number of years now, unless you're doing humanitarian projects with Zim, and then they require a trust for monitoring and oversight. And other than that, you don't need it. You can do it personally. That's not a problem. The problem is that when people find out, like you just said, when people find out that you've got this incredible blessing that's come your way, those who are jealous or covetous, whatever, um, you know, slip and fall in your driveway. And if you don't own anything, then they can't take it from you. So that's why I like the utility of a trust. It gives you that insulation if you set it up properly.
But yeah, that's the reason for one in my book.
Yeah.
The Michael Montclair in my trust, I listed what in my trust: XRP, address, and all other currencies. In other words, what all do you list in there?
You know, I created two trusts for my appointment. One has all my currencies, and one has my Zim for humanitarian projects. And I just list total, you know, total amount of, well, first each type of currency, and then the total face amount of each of those currencies, and I just list those in there. Because people get all confused and think, okay, well, I don't know what the exchange rate's going to be. How can I put it in there? No, you put in what you have now, and it will be converted into dollars or francs or whatever whenever you go through your appointment and you make that designation. And the changes will, be shown over time in trust records.
What's the average cost of a trust, from simple, maybe a little more complex? If you could give an example or two for some folks that might be
Yeah,
interested in reaching out to you.
yeah, you should be able to do a get a trust and everything that you need. Letters of authorization to open bank accounts, conveyance instruments to convey the currency, or Zim into the trust, all those things. You should be able to get that for $500. You shouldn't have to pay more than that. But obviously, you can get up to thousands and thousands of dollars. It's just a question of, do you want to do everything right now so that you don't have to, what do I want to say? Do you want to do everything right now when you don't know what the future is going to be and exactly what you're going to need, or you just want to have something that's going to be tight and complete and can get you through your appointment and can last forever if you want it to? It really is just a question of preference.
I just some of these comments, and this really does just scream. My daughter does trust for people in law firms. She said it's unbelievable how many don't transfer assets into them and die anyway without ever finishing or completing.
You know what? And that's why when I put together the packet of materials, the basic packet of materials that you and I have dealt with, I was doing it for myself and trying to anticipate, okay, here comes the appointment and what am I going to need? And so one of the things that I developed was a conveyance and acceptance document that so that when the people get their stuff and they go out and they sign where they need to sign and they have notarized where they need to have notarized, when that's done, your currency is conveyed, the title to your currency is conveyed into the trust, and it's already done. So you don't have to worry about that, because you're right. I mean, I get people that come to me, from 3 years ago and say, hey, I got the stuff and really appreciate it. I haven't had time to do anything with it. I need to change the dates and I need to get it signed and notarized and things like that. And it's like, man, I mean, talk about last minute. You got so I see that a lot, and I understand that.
Cat John, a lot of folks, it does seem to, the corporation goes away. Why do we have to have all litigious concerns and the bar goes away? Lawyers are still going to be lawyers. People are still going to be people. Greed's still going to exist. Christ has not returned.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is the court system. I mean, we'll be operating under a different set of laws, so you won't have those corporate statutes with 18 million pages of rules and regulations and things like that. But so it'll be simpler. But yeah, there's still going to be people who will try to take advantage and that's a big reason that I like trust, is because it doesn't have my name on it. And if somebody asks, oh, you're living in you're living in a nice new house, you're driving a nice car, especially people in smaller communities, it's a real simple and honestly honest response to say, hey, I was blessed with an awesome job. I've been hired to manage, a trust, and I am a caretaker for that property, and they give me a company car and they pay my fees and expenses, and and you just leave it at that, and nobody needs to know. The privacy aspect to me is very important, especially with the numbers that we're talking about, because if you look at it, probably 99% of the people that are going to view this call, they've never experienced liquid wealth the way that they're going to once we go through our appointments, and the temptation to discuss that and maybe puff your chest out for all the non-believers, right, that you've had to deal with over the years, that's real, and the trust kind of takes that away, because I don't own it, trust owns it, and just leave it at that. Keep private.
Be out there making crow pie and serving it. You got to avoid the need to do that. Let's see, Deb. Bob Locke, is it possible to see what is involved in a trust prior to getting you involved, so as to not waste your time if it wouldn't be what we need?
I'm not sure how to answer that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, maybe just an email, say, hey, this is what Gats was trying to do. Would it make sense for us to have you make one or not? Or I mean, I don't know the answer to that one, but
Yeah, I mean, obviously do your research as much as you can. There's a lot of stuff out there. In fact, if you go to my Telegram chat, I've got a files tab that's got some really good stuff there to educate you, free or extremely low cost. And on my website, I periodically post blog posts discussing different issues about trusts. My book's out there. But if you've got questions, or if you're interested in it, just send me an email, debtlawyer@gmail.com. And if it's right for you, we'll figure it out.
Bella Boo, Bob. So if it is a living trust, we need a pour over will to. I don't know what that is, but
Well, I mean, it's a common vehicle where people have a will, and when they die, all of the assets that they earmark pours over into a trust, and then the trust manages those assets, for as long as the trust is around. Um, if you've got a lot of personal property that you don't want to put into the trust, and you want to designate who it's going to go to, those kind of things, a will is good to have. Um, my feeling is, a will has to get probated, and it's going to be subject to estate tax. And depending upon how you structure a trust, you avoid those costs. So there's good and bad to all of it. You just have to pick what's best for you.
Manuel, a lot of people are worried about this. They didn't have you make it, whatever. They've had a trust, they had a trust made, and they're worried about them being invalid if our legal system, if what we hear is accurate and things change. Well, what are we going to do? My
And
cautionary tale is might need tweak, but don't panic. I mean, you did this for a living. Okay, you were an attorney, you do these things, debt lawyer, all those things. So they want to hear it from you, what to do.
well, this to me, this is a brilliant question and something that that people need to anticipate. So understand, we go to our appointments and all the systems are changing: finance, tax, government, legal. And you're going from this corporate statutory environment to a pure common law environment, which is a lot simpler. Um, in my mind, no, your trust is definitely not going to be invalid. The thing is, it's going to be how it's interpreted is going to change. So right now, it's interpreted according to the corporate statutory law that it was based upon. So in the state of wherever. And now it will be reviewed on a common law basis in that particular jurisdiction. So it's not going to be invalid, but there may be some tweaks that you have to make. So you're right there, Mark.
Looking for some more of these Dar golfer. Hi, Bob. You did my trust several years ago. Should I have minutes from annual meetings, even if the trust is empty at this time? Should I place other assets in the trust while I'm waiting?
Yeah, good questions. Yes, I mean, the trust requires that you have at least an annual meeting and have minutes to reflect what happens. And so if nothing's happened, then it's just no appreciable changes to the trust in the past year. And it's one sentence and you put it into your file. I actually have in the files folder in my Telegram chat, I have DIY annual meeting minutes, special meeting minutes, as well as amendments for people that want to make changes, and have them reflected in the trust records. If you got it from me and you listed currencies in your whatever currencies that you intended to go into the trust, then you signed a conveyance and acceptance document in the packet of materials that I sent you. And at that point, you conveyed title to your currencies into the trust. So you don't have to add anything else, but you certainly can.
Um, yeah, a lot of people still seem to be confused on this one. Doesn't QFS prevent anyone but the owner from viewing your account?
I mean, it's basically a smart contract type system where you determine who gets to look at your account. And every time anybody looks at it, every time any change is made to the account, then you're going to be able to see that. And so you've got that kind of visibility and transparency that the current system, lacks on purpose.
Um, Tim's thoughts, just kind of get you to think through that one too.
This, you know what? No, trust. I mean, the Biden family uses trust for, criminal activity as far as anything that we've seen thus far. But most people just use them as an estate planning type vehicle. Like I said, they provide privacy, insulation from liability, as well as savings from, you don't have to incur probate costs. And depending upon how it's set up, you avoid estate taxes, which can be 45, 50, 55% of the estate.
Yeah,
So
more if you're in California.
yeah, exactly. So, but good question.
What kind of trust do you need to put your house and cars in?
You know what? I mean, honestly, a trust is a contract. Okay. Trust is a contract, and you need four things in order for it to be valid. You need a grantor, sometimes called a settlor. You need a trustee, you need a beneficiary, and you need to fund it. You can fund it with $10 and it'd be a valid trust. So, what kind do you need? It depends on whether you want to make changes or not. So, your big discussion is going to be revocable trust versus irrevocable trusts. Revocable trusts they can be changed very easily. If the grantor decides they put $100 in and they need to take $50 back out for personal expenses, they can do that. Under the current system, a statutory trust, revocable trust, that gets filed on your 1040. It's still part of your personal estate. And irrevocable trust, it's very difficult to make changes, but it's also very, very strong. And you can't take that money back out. Once you convey it to the trust, it is irrevocable. The trust now owns it completely, and you can manage it inside the trust. The trust can buy houses, can buy cars, can sell investments and things like that, but all of the funds from that stay in the trust.
Yeah, will the QFS protect assets from court judgments? And I'm going to say no. You're
No.
still responsible for your actions. If you go out there willy nilly and run somebody over, they get to sue you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the QFS is just it's a system, and it allows you more, like I said, more transparency, more visibility into what's going on. So right now, most people don't understand that they go in and they open up a bank account at Wells Fargo. There's probably people that are looking at your account for training purposes on a regular basis who you don't even know, and you never know when it happens, right? So that can't happen in a QFS system.
LG lady, can we just change name of existing trust, but then assets too, like bank accounts, change what's in it, etc.?
Well, you can. There's absolutely, you can change the name of a trust. So I've had a lot of people that come to me, and a typical statutory living trust, it ends up being, the Bob Locke Living Trust. And so whatever's in there, everybody knows that it's mine. And so there are people that have that who have chosen to go in and amend the trust and change the name. And then as far as bank accounts and things like that, I mean, that you can convey bank accounts into a trust. Some things are a little bit more difficult. I mean, if you say if the house is subject to a mortgage or a car subject to a loan, before you can convey it in, there's language in in the loan documents that says that if you convey it into trust or somewhere else, without notifying the lender, then the entire note becomes due and payable immediately. So you're going to have to if you want to do something like that, then you're going to have to take the trust and give it to their legal department so they can analyze it and bless the transfer.
Yeah. I always get a kick out of those. Yeah, the guy that writes them, the attorney. All right. Anyways, let's stay focused. I've heard that you don't want anything in your name. How do you do that and still have access to your funds?
Put it into trust. Yeah, I mean, and I mean, people do. There's other vehicles. I just prefer trusts. You can use LLCs. You can do, honestly, when you're looking at when you're looking at your estate planning and you're looking at what your situation is, an LLC may fit in there in certain circumstances better than a trust. A foundation may fit better than a trust, or as good as a trust. But the privacy aspects of the trust are one of the biggest things that attracted me to them, because it's nobody's business. You don't have to show anybody your schedules that of assets or who your beneficiaries are or anything like that. So the biggest thing is just choosing what kind of trust that you want to have. Like revocable, irrevocable. Do you want to do it in statutory? Do you want to do it in a common law? I chose common law because I know once we go through our appointments that the statutory is going away, and so we'll be living under common law. So I don't have to worry about interpretation or anything like that because it's already set in stone. And people say, well, the common law is coming back. The common law never left. it was basically papered over by all these corporate statutes that they put into place. But the common law is still out there, and remember, a trust is just a contract, and so you choose the law under which that contract is going to be interpreted. I choose the common law. And I can do that, and no state can come in and try and crush that, because you can't impair a person's right to contract.
Yeah, I like this one. I'm a notary. Don't work for the government. The trust is a private legal entity, so government isn't part of your estate, and that's
Yeah, exactly.
otherwise they get to take you through state and probate and all that, and then they are part of your estate if you don't have arrangements made.
Yes.
Tina said, I heard you shouldn't put your personal home and car, you shouldn't put in a trust.
The wealthiest people on the planet,
Either put them in a trust or a corporation, so
or a
that they can
corporation or
hold
an
it to
LLC.
protect themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I go through my appointment, and I've got my two trusts, and I've already sketched out, I'm going to have sub trusts underneath there. And, when I want to buy a house, then I'll create another trust, fund it, and then that trust will go out and buy the house. And so it's not in my name. And same thing with the car or any other assets that you want to purchase.
Question for Bob. Should we be concerned about the bank skeleton trust and any fine print? We keep hearing for many that they're going to offer us a account that's basically a skeleton trust while we position. Your thoughts on that, and what should we do if it's accurate?
I think that people are confused about that whole issue. Banks and other entities have what they call shelf trusts, right? There's trusts that are created, but they're not funded. And so, you can buy one and use it for whatever purpose. I don't think that is going to happen here, because your appointment is only going to be 30 or 40 minutes. And if you think about the last time that you opened up a bank account and how long that took, the idea that you're going to have the time, you're going to have to be going through an NDA, that you're going to have the time to open up the accounts as well as review a trust that the bank gave you, who I just don't trust banks not to act in their self-interest. I just don't think it's realistic. And if it does actually happen, I wouldn't touch the skeleton trust that a bank offers under that scenario with a 10-foot pole.
Ray, I chuckled when I read this one. What position does my wife play in the trust? What title does she take? Owner, master,
Yeah.
queen.
Well, yeah, exactly. Whatever title she wants. I mean, it really is, what role do you want her to play? So a lot of married couples that I work with, they're both grantors and they're both trustees. For my personal, I'm the grantor and trustee. My wife is a beneficiary and a successor trustee, and our adult kids and grandkids are beneficiaries. So it really is just, how much is she going to be doing with the trust? And once you can answer that question, then you'll be able to figure out what role she's going to play, or what title.
So Tebow, does a bank account attach to your trust for future purchases? Or I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, I mean, you can absolutely attach a bank account to your trust.
Yeah, and understand, when you go into your appointment, you're going to open an account or a couple of accounts under the trust name, acting as trustee.
2, can you have a revocable and an irrevocable trust at the same time?
Sure. I mean, I know people who they have revocable trusts in preparation for their appointments, and because things may change between now and the time of the appointments, and so they may want to make quick changes to the trust in terms of beneficiaries, allocations, etc., and not have to go through the process of decanting that is required for an irrevocable trust. But then after the appointment, and that trust creates sub trusts, I intend to create irrevocable trusts, and for large assets.
I see. I saw another one I liked. Bob Locke is your trust a common law trust? Will it be honored by the current system too?
Yeah, I mean, I always I liken the system that we're in right now to, walking into a house that you purchased, and there's this, study with this garish 1970s aluminum wallpaper on it. And so you tear that stuff off and you get rid of those wildflowers. And underneath is a beautiful mahogany paneling that you didn't know was there. Or it's like if it's cloudy, is the sun still there? The common law is still there. It wasn't replaced. It was papered over. And so people are free to go and invoke the common law themselves in situations if the situations support that. And I choose common law because I know that's where it's going.
Um, what else do we have? Oh, look! Oh, shoot! Time. We're gonna have to squeeze in. Here, we'll squeeze in this last one. Bob, you did our trust in 2023. We need to make changes and year ? Maybe change it to update it. No, we haven't had it notarized. Chase gave us a hard time about the year. In other words, because they had waited, I guess. I don't know.
Chase is just
Chase is amazing.
They're the worst. They are the worst. I mean, it's funny because I'm in California, so getting things notarized in California. Oh my God! I mean, in Illinois, I would pay $1 at a currency exchange, and they would notarize anything that I gave them. In California, it's a process, but I've had plenty of my trusts notarized through Wells Fargo in California, and never had a problem. You want to make changes? Send me an email. And let's see what you need to have done. And I can either instruct you on how to make the changes using things like the DIY forms in the files folder at my Telegram chat, or I'll help you. I'll take care of the changes myself. Excuse me, as is needed.
Bob, I can't thank you enough. When are you going to do a big Q&A like this on your YouTube channel?
You know what? That is we're on the precipice of that, Mark. We really are. I've been doing a lot of work on it. The biggest thing, because it's my anti-radicals vlog or podcast, whatever you want to call it, and I'm talking about a lot of things that I worry about the censors. Because we're talking about the different isms, right, that we're being confronted with lately, and kind of this mad dash towards totalitarianism, and looking at a lot of the issues that are out there and raising their ugly heads, more and more by the day. So I'm actually working with my AI to develop my topic list and ideas specifically. Trying to avoid being censored for that stuff, because I remember what happened during COVID. It was just it was nuts.
It's a little better now, but not perfect. Bob, I can't thank you enough, guys. If you want to find them, debtlawyer@gmail.com. You can find Bob Locke. Thank you. Thank you for joining this morning. Go ahead.
And last thing, one of the things that I did, and it really started through conversations with people in this community who were asking me questions, and it started out as blog posts. You can get my book, and it's called Managing Sudden Wealth Through Smart Team Building. And it's got a wealth of information. It applies to countries around the world, gives you all the references and information that you need to be able to build your teams of attorneys, CPAs, wealth managers, investment managers, etc. So something to look at therealboblocke.com. Oh, there you go. Thank you, buddy.
Therealboblocke.com.
Hey, you have a great day. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, man. Take care.
Appreciate you, Bob. Take care. We're going to ramp right in birthdays, and I've already had Lucas hiding in the back waiting for us to wrap because we went over a little bit. Brad, Mary, Ann, Witty Cat, Paul, W.T. Thomas, anybody else celebrating birthdays, pop in very quickly so that folks in here can wish you a happy birthday as well. It's not humanly possible for me to catch them all, so I'm going to sing and turn it over to the Lucas man. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. To all those celebrating, including Mr. Jones. All right. I have the man, the myth. I have the Lucas man.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Lucas. What'd you do with Matt? Did you hide him?
I did. I buried him out in the cornfield.
Ah, that checks out.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. He's
Oh,
just,
you left his head sticking out right beside the anthill.
Well, I'm not a savage.
Right? Hey,
Gosh, I
it's
mean,
got
what
to
do
be
you
able to
think of
breathe when
me?
the ants are eating the honey off of them. Poor Maddie, like, whoa.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I actually just got showered, got dressed. I have some meetings I got to hit up, but I was formulating since like 5 a.m. this morning, getting a few other things going around. So it's just been a crazy morning. Fridays are usually that way though.
Yeah, Fridays, no, you're right. They're just that way. Occasionally, I get like a couple of hours in the afternoon that aren't crazy, and you're going around like, wait, what? What's wrong? What's wrong? It's like you're like looking around for like, what's going on?
Well, like I missed something, right? Like I
Right?
forgot something, I missed something, something's up. Um, but yeah.
Speaking of forgetting something, I think you forgot to lock the door when you had Matt all locked up. He's out.
All right. It's Halloween. Here I
It's
come, baby.
Halloween, Matt. Tell me
Yeah.
you got some big plans.
Just recovering. I just kind of had a throat cold or something all week, but everything's good. And big plans. I'll give out kids treats out to the kids. And well, probably stay away from the kids. I don't want to get anybody too sick, so I'll just hover in the background while my
No,
wife.
Matt, there's this really cool product buddy of mine, Kevin and Lucas have called Immunity that I think you should consider if you're feeling under the weather, because that stuff is amazing. I can set you up with them. I can find you a number for Wendy. She'll help you order the right thing, but you should consider it. It is
Yeah.
great stuff.
That sounds like a great idea. We'll have to, give me that number here pretty quick. But for sure, I mean, I've been using my immunity, and I think it's really helped me. So, you know what it is. It's just, who knows what they put in the air lately. I mean, anyway, so I got it, whatever it was, but I'm good.
That's a good thing. Bobby, does Lucas live in the town? Lucas, I could never imagine you living in a town. Haven't met you, knowing you all these years and stuff now. You're just not a
You
city
know,
boy.
you know what? There was a time. There was about 3 years that we lived in the city. Um, and we don't have time to go into it now, but that's a great. It was. It changed my world. Like I understand it, right? Like
Mhm.
the convenience.
Oh,
I've
it's
always
convenient.
lived 20 to 45 minutes away from town, and always had a farm or lived out, not amongst people. And but it's kind of weird that after those 3 years trying to get back to the mentality of, okay, now we're only going to be we're back to 30-35 minutes away from the store.
Yeah, you're not
It's
getting
it's
Chinese
weird.
at last minute, like 6 o'clock. Hey, honey, what do you want
No,
to eat?
no.
Just order some Chinese.
And for 3 years we could, and like
Mhm.
I'd never experienced that before. But there's always the pros and cons. I like being out where at 7 o'clock at night I can put out a big old bonfire and not hear a single thing and hear the peeper frogs and just kind of enjoy that. So I mean, you definitely have the pros and cons, and I've definitely seen both.
You can pee off your back porch and not get an
Oh,
indecent exposure charge.
front porch, back porch,
Front
side
porch, back.
porch,
See,
sometimes out of the second story window.
I mean, yeah, if you need to, it's not worth walking to the down to the bathroom. Or I get it. It's good to be a country boy. Matt, you want to talk us through how to get in here? Anything big happenings? Are you guys going to make it tomorrow morning? Or are you going to be in candy coma?
No, not for me. I mean, probably Lucas because he's got kids, but I don't eat
Nah.
candy
Oh
anymore.
man, the
I'm back
Matt.
in. I did. Mark, I kind of went through a stint about a month or two where I had carbs and, I was eating oats and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But for about a month now, I've been back on the no carbohydrate and no sugar train just because I feel so good
It
on it.
really
So
does
there,
make a huge
it,
difference.
it
Then you fall off and you really enjoy the moment, the cravings, and then a couple days you're like, "Oh, what did I do to myself? I was doing so well."
uh-huh.
But as a parent, though, you have a responsibility to eat quite a bit of those kids' Halloween candy to protect them.
Well, and there's a tax. And, in
Right, the
Halloween,
candy
typically
tax.
in the past, it's all, normally it's only 10 or 15%. But normally during Halloween, Easter, Christmas, stuff like that, that tax goes up to about 50%.
Ellen, oh my man, I do wish you all wouldn't pee off the porch. Might as well wish we weren't hairy, too.
You guys were allowed to pee off the porch? Were you? Is that what you said before?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about
Are you
man.
kidding
See,
me?
Matt's a city boy.
Oh
I know.
no, no. You'd be surprised. No, we had to go out into the yard to do that. Otherwise we'd been in trouble. At least step off the porch.
Well, you got to make sure you don't get it on the porch. But I mean, all I'm saying is people are like, why in the world would you go outside when you have a bathroom inside? Let me ask you this. Why in the world would you want to look at a piece of drywall as opposed to trees and the deer and the turkeys
While you're
outside?
peeing.
Like, that's all I'm
And
saying is I want a view when I'm peeing. That's
plus,
all I'm saying.
plus, the urine in the yard helps drive away wild animals like coyotes, deer, etc. And this is proven at this point. You want to help keep your yard a little more free of these evening mammalian pests? Pee in your yard. Stake
Uh,
your territory.
that's right.
100%.
Right. Now,
Right on.
I know we need to be getting to the specials and how to get in there before we call it a wrap. But Jackie just asked a question, and I can't believe that I missed it. How'd the weigh-in go?
Ah,
We
he
didn't have
got
it.
he got it in by 1/2 of a pound.
Good for him, though.
Yep.
I mean, he
That
crushed it.
was on Wednesday. So I started out at 290 here. I think it was
It was
three and
three
a half,
months ago.
4 months ago, maybe.
Yeah,
And
something like that.
so 45. And that's not what
45
made me
pounds.
sick, you guys. Yeah.
Oh,
it
well,
was
wait a
some-
minute. So you got down to 245.
245 was the deal.
Wow. That is awesome, Matt.
244.5.
So what costume is Lucas wearing?
Is Lucas, he's going to wear I don't know, the pink tutu. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe
It's not a tutu, it's a pink bunny outfit. And yes, I will be wearing it tonight for the Halloween competition.
Yeah, what was that? Wasn't that the what was that Christmas movie with the kid in the pink bunny suit?
Pink Panther?
Yeah, no. I'll find it, Matt, while you're talking about this. How do we get in there?
Okay, you guys. And I'm talking today good, so I couldn't talk too much 2 days ago. But anyways, you go to thecbdgurus.com, thecbdgurus.com, and when you get in there, you'll be in you get in there and you go to wholesale. You hit the wholesale and you go to MarkZ wholesale, and then you're in the specials. Well, before you get in there, you might have to put in a code word called lowercase k. No, it's not lowercase, but lowercase KRAMCBD, and then you're in the specials. And this week on the specials, we started there at 9:57 a.m. That's when me and Scotty finished. It was just so many stories this morning that we couldn't get going. But anyways, it was at Central Time, by the way. The discount code this week on any order is 250. Oh my God, OFF 25 off, not zero. 25 OFF. I'm looking at it because it's next to the 5, but it's 250FF, 25 off.
So is that
25
$25 or 25%?
25%, and I'll have Scotty
Oh,
finish it, you guys. So it's, excuse me, 25% off. And so you're hearing it all. As soon as I get off the phone, I'm gonna have them change it. 25% off this week discount. Okay. And then he didn't take that down either, but that's all right. We'll fix that too. Any order with currency, we take a picture of currency. Well, there won't be any currency this week. It's just 25% off, which is a great deal because 25% off our low prices. And if you need help placing an order, call or text 612-412-8343. And for the next 2 days, try to do the orders all you can because Amy's going to be helping out. Wendy's off, so she's off for a couple of days, you guys. So if you call there, just leave the message and we'll get back to you. Amy will be calling you. I probably won't be calling you. I got the plumber barging in here. But anyways, so, and if you just 612-412-8343. Here's the specials for the week, you guys. We got our coffee and the first spot there, 25% off. There you go. You get a good deal. We got the quarter pound coffee. We got the coffee concentrate. We got the Delta 8 gummies. We got the Lion's Mane capsules. We got the turkey tail capsules. I don't know if you can hear the noise in the background, but we got it. We've got the mushroom gummies. We've got Delta 8, no, excuse me, Delta 9 gummies, 10 counts, 10 counts, 10 counts, 20 counts on, or excuse me, 10 counts on the 10 milligram gummies. We got our sleep gummies, our broad spectrum, Miracle Gold, ACV, and then we got a new product here. You get down there, it's a 20 count, 10 milligram gummies, 20 count package, $18, 25% off, so you're at $13.50. And then we've got our chocolates in there. We've got
Oh, that's
yeah, here
pretty
we
cool.
go. Here we go, you guys. But now here's the deal. We'll try to keep them from not melting, but if you live in a hot area, I'm just telling you, the shipping hasn't been the greatest. We'll try to ship them in the fastest way we can. But, you know, they should hold together. Now, remember, if they are a little hot when you get them, just throw them in the fridge. Throw them in the fridge anyway. It'll solidify them, and then you can take the wrappers right off them. Now, these are, they're in 10 counts. They're 15 milligram THC minis, chocolates, nuggets, and caramels. Okay, so we got 6 different selections, and they're 10 for $40, 25% off. You get them for 30. Okay, so we've got the. I'll just tell you the ones we have for selections. We got the dark chocolate, we got the milk chocolate, we got the cookies and cream, we got the Dubai chocolate nuggets, we got the peanut butter nuggets, and we got the buttercream caramels. Now remember, you guys, they're 15 milligrams THC. And so don't just plop it in your mouth and all of a sudden take another one right away because that 30 milligrams of pretty good THC there, so you got to watch it. Maybe just start out with a half of one. You guys are used to take THC, but the chocolate is the best chocolate. It's the chocolate we've always had, and it's the best chocolate in the world. It really is. It's just dynamite stuff. And we'll try to keep it as cool as we can. We didn't want to ship them till it started getting cooler out, you know, because we just don't want them to melt on you. But if they are a little hot when you get them, just throw them in the refrigerator, salt them up, and you'll be all set. So those are in there today. So, and then we got other products in there. Everything is 25% off except for the postage, okay? And that's the order. So I'll have Scotty put that in there too, so there's no question about that. And if you have any questions or need help ordering, just call 612-412-8343 and we'll help you out. And but remember, just put your number down and name and number. Don't just put a name because it's kind of going to be kind of busy this weekend, you know, because like I said, Wendy's off for the day and tomorrow. Anyway.
Wendy's got her daughter's baby shower for the twins that are in the oven.
That's pretty cool. Twins. Yeah, it's nice.
And we've had the best time as a family shopping for the gifts for it. So ought to be awfully fun.
Yeah, that's great. Family stuff. Anyways, okay, that's all the specials, you guys. And those chocolates, yeah, you should be all right on those. Like I said, even if they get a little hot, just they don't lose their form. Just put them in the fridge and they'll solid up again. So, anyways, that's the specials, you guys, and we got other products in there in special too. But oh yeah, the drinks, get after those too, because when it gets too cold out, we'll quit shipping them. But $5.50 today a piece, 25% off. That's a pretty good deal. And so get after them. We got lime, cherry, and orange. And we're all set then. We got everything else in there too. All righty. How's that sound?
It sounds fantastic, Matt. Look forward to seeing you in the morning. Lucas, you going to be able to make it, or are you still going to be in that, that Snickers hangover?
Again, no sugar for this guy.
All right, no
So
Laffy Taffy.
I'll be feeding it to the animals.
Yep.
You have a good evening, and yeah, we'll see you in the morning.
Sounds good. Matt, is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap?
No, not at all. Everything's cool. And the shots too, they're $3. Those are a pretty good price right there if you want some of those. But remember, it's hard to ship the liquid stuff when it gets cold out because it'll blow up. So order it now in case it starts getting cold here in about 3 weeks. All right, Mark. Thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks for having us on. And yeah, the immunity's in there too because I heard this stuff's going around the country. So you got the immunity in there. Get that. It works pretty good. So
no, yeah, I'm a huge fan of that. That's one of my favorite products you guys have. That and the D8s.
Oh, those D8s are beautiful, aren't they?
They're life changing for sleep.
Thanks, right, you guys. I'll see you in the morning, and I just got to talk to the plumber quick, and then I'll get after the call here.
Okay? All right, pitter patter, Matt. Go get at her.
Take care, you guys. See ya.
Somebody had asked for the Anti-Trafficking Bureau link for the silent auction. I'm going to post that one last time and then call it a wrap. See you guys in the morning unless we get some kind of just amazing breaking news. And that link will show. I know there's a slight delay, but look for it in your chat, or heck, look for it a little bit before I told you it's in your chat because of that delay. All right, folks, see you in the morning.